we're going to take a look at binomial calculations, binomial distributions, and finding probabilities related to binomial distributions. So we will go to that calculator here for us, the binomial calculator. And so you have these options: find probabilities, formulas, and properties, which we talk about, but we really focus on in the class with the finding probabilities using the calculator. And again, this was an exploration page here, but that's what we'll be looking at. Let's take a look at a sample problem from our class. So you, of course, have to recall the binomial distribution and whether a situation is binomial or not, which you'll take a look at in your notes. But here's a situation. You're taking 18-question multiple choice test where each question has 5 possible answers. So in this case, your n is 18 and your probability of success, right, choosing, right, a correct answer would be 1 out of 5. Now, what would be the mean and standard deviation of this type of distribution, right? What would we expect? How many would we expect to get right? The answer is 3.6 or 18 over 5, and then there's your standard deviation. Now, to calculate that using this calculator here, finding probabilities, there'd be 18. Your probability of success is 1 out of 5, and that turns out to be 0.20. And then you can see the probability distribution, right? The probability that you would get out of the 18. All 18 is very low, right? Probability of getting 5 of them right is 15%. And so if we're going to answer probability questions, again, you could take a look at the distribution here and see the bars represent the probability that out of 18, if you get 5, to get 5 right is 15% chance, to get 6 right out of 18 would be 8%. Notice it's not just the number right out of 18 because there's a 20% chance. So that alters the probabilities of success, or the probability that you would get. So for example, if there's 18, what's the probability, 18 questions, what's the probability you'll get 9 of them correct, right? It's not 1/2. Notice, to get 9 out of the 18 is 0.003. Very unlikely, right? Less than a 1% chance, less than a 0.5% chance, because there was only a 20% chance of getting 1 right. Now, to find the mean and standard deviation, you would have to use the Explore button here. And you see there's 18, if I can get there. I'm trying to get 18, so I have 18 here, and your probability of success was 0.20. And so again, you see the probability table, you'll see it here. So you can explore with those answers, and you can answer them here also. And then you can see the mean and standard deviation, 3.6 and 1.7, which is what we have here, 3.6 and 1.7. Now, if we want to calculate probabilities, let's look at some questions here. Let's just pick one here. If a manufacturing machine has a 5% defection rate or defect rate, if 8 items are chosen at random, what is the probability that at least 1 will have a defect? So we have a 5% success rate, in this case defect, being bad or being defective is our P. And out of 8, at least 1. So that would lead us to here, finding probabilities. We are examining 8 items. And the probability that 1 is defective is 5%. And the probability that at least one is going to be greater than or equal to 1. And so then there's your calculation there. The probability that, oops, I forgot to put the probabilities, which is 0.05. There we go. Make sure that gets in there because you can't calculate. So the probability that at least 1, right, at least 1, with 1 here being defective, you can see it'll be the sum of all of these. And that would be 0.3366, that at least 1 is defective. At least is greater than or equal to 1, and so you have your answer there. And then you could do your other probabilities, picking, depending on the question and the values, this is where you would calculate your probabilities.